Welcome to another daily reading. This is Genesis 14, Matthew 14. I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous, he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips, and Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod-He, Vav-He. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is the difference and does matter is when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name when no, they're not. And no one in their right mind would ever believe that, and only a fool would believe that a hammer could force its creator to do anything, and there was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yahoshua Messiah, sweat blood and was brutally murdered and resurrected on the stake for the was brutally murdered on a stake and resurrected on the third day for the sins of all of humanity. Thank you, Yah, for letting me get that out. Oh boy. And a direct translation from Hebrew to English. And there was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic text because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yahshua Messiah, sweat blood and was brutally murdered and resurrected on the third day for the sins of all of humanity. And a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yeshua or Yahoshua is Joshua. It's funny how when you take a direct translation, sometimes things add up, sometimes they don't. People don't ever use the excuse that it sounds the same, so it is the same. Because that's how people got Jacob to say Jacob. Because the Catholics and King James, who made his own version, that's why it's called KJV. It's no better than the KGB. It's a complete sham. And the son of Elohim's name means, or Yahshua means Yah is salvation. He will save his people from their sins. Jesus is Greek for Hail Zeus, and not anything to do with the Messiah, not anything to do with YahWeh. Neither is God anything to do with YahWeh, because God is the idol of fortune. Unwind what you put into your brain that God is YahWeh. What's the name of God? God, because he's the idol of fortune, stupid. Like, stupid means to have a brain and not use it. Use your brain. He gave it to you. Yah gave it to you, not God. God never existed. A mighty one that isn't even a mighty one, as the Word would call him. Anyways, let's get into this. Genesis 14. And it came to be in the days of Amraphel, Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Shin', Arioch, Aryok, with a line underneath of it, sovereign of Ellasar, Ellasar, Kedorla, that's one word, okay, Kedorla Omer, Ked with a line underneath of it, Orla', sovereign of Elam, E with a half a check mark, YLAM, and title, TID with a line underneath of it, AL, sovereign of Goyim, GOYIM, and they fought against Bera, BERA, sovereign of Sodom, SED with a line underneath of it, OM, Bersha, BIRSHA, sovereign of Amorah, AMORAH, Shinab, SHINAB with a line underneath of it, sovereign of Admah, AD with a line underneath of it, MAH, Shemeber, SHEM, E with a half a check mark, B with a line underneath of it, ER, sovereign of Seboim, TSEB with a line underneath of it, OYIM, and the sovereign of Bela, BELA, that is Sor, TSO'AR. So Sor is Bela. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, SIDDIM, that is the Salt Sea. So the valley of Siddim is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorla Omer, and in the 13th year they rebelled, and in the 14th year Kedorla Omer and the sovereigns that were with him came and struck the Rephaim, REPHA', IM, in Ashtaroth, Quarnaim, Ashtaroth is Ashtheroth, and then Qarnaim is Qarnaym, and Zuzim, Zuzim, and Ham, H with a dot am, and the Emites, E with a half a check mark, Mites, in Shawa, Quiriathaim. Sharwa is Shawe with a half a check mark H, and then Quiriathaim is Qiryathayim. And the Horites, H with a dot Orites, in their mountain of Seir, S-E with a half a check mark apostrophe I-R, as far as El Paran. L is E with a half a check mark, El Paran is P-A-R-A-N, which is by the wilderness, and they turned back and came to En Mishpat, that is Qadesh. N is E with a half a check mark N, and then Mishpat is M-I-S-H-P-A-T, that is Qadesh, Q-A-D with a line underneath of it, E with a half a check mark S-H, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, A-M-A-L-E with a half a check mark Q-I-T-E-S, and also the Amorites who dwelt in... Amorites is A-M-O-R-I-T-E-S, who dwelt in Hatzetzron. I'm just going to spell it. You guys can pronounce it. H with a dot, A-T-S-E-T-S-O-N, Tamar, T-A-M-A-R, and the sovereign of Sodom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Sor, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim against Kedorla Omer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, and Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, and Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, 4 sovereigns against 5. And the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Sodom and Amorah fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains, and they took all the goods of Sodom and Amorah, and all their food, and went away, and they took Lot, Lot is L-O-T, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. Abram is A-B with a line underneath it, R-A-M. In English, there's no line underneath the B. Not the A. There's no line underneath the A, just the B. And in English, there is no line underneath the B. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew. So Abram was a Hebrew, and if you're part of the seed of Abraham, then you're a Hebrew. Not to mention the 12 tribes of Israel are Hebrew. All 12 of them are a Hebrew. They are the Hebrew tribe of Israel. The Hebrew tribe, not the Greek tribe. Okay? None of them were Greek. I can tell you that right now. They were Hebrew. And anyone who says that the majority of the word is Greek is a fool. Because the word says it right here. He's a Hebrew, that's Hebrew. This is Hebrew, that's Hebrew. Not Greek. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees in Mamre, or of Mamre, M-A-M-R-E with a half a check mark, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, E-S-H-K-O-L, and brother of Aner, A-N-E with a half a check mark R. And they had a covenant with Abram, and when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants, who were born in his own house, and went in pursuit as far as Dan, which is a tribe, D-A-N. And he and his servants divided against them by night, and struck them, and pursued them as far as Hobah. Hobah is H with a dot, O-B with a line underneath of it, A-H, which is on the left of Damascus, D-A-M-M-E-S-E-Q. Also there's Damascus. No, this is domestic. There's Damascus. You'll figure it out. There's a D-A-M-M-E-S-E-Q, and then there's a D-A-M-M, I believe it's an A-S-E-Q. Damascus and Damascus. Anyways. So he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return from the striking of Kedorlaomer, and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Sodom, came out to meet him at the valley of Sha'ul, that is the sovereign's valley, and Melchizedek, Malkitsed with a line underneath of it, EQ, sovereign of Shalem, Shale with a half a check mark M, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High El. So Elohim. El is short for Elohim or Eloah, plural for mighty ones or mighty one. The other one's singular, obviously, because it's mighty one, no longer mighty ones. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High El, possessor of the heavens and earth, and blessed be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tenth of all. And the sovereign of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to YahWeh, the Most High El, the possessor of the heavens and earth, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. Matthew 14. At that time, Herodes, Herodes, the district ruler, heard the report about Yahushua and said to his servants, This is Yohanan the Immerser. Yohanan, Y-O-H with a dot, A-N-A-N, the Immerser. He has risen from the dead, and that is why these mighty powers are at work in him. For Herodes had arrested Yohanan, bound him, and put him in prison because of Herodias, Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. Philip is Philip. Pretty sure that's self-explanatory, but you know. His brother Philip's wife, for Yohanan had said to him, It is not right for you to have her. And wishing to kill him, he feared the crowd because they held him as a prophet. But as Herod's birthday was being held, again, being held by an idol, not being held by Yahweh's people, so it's not the same. But as Herod's birthday was being held, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herodes, so he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. And she, being urged on by her mother, said, Give me here the head of Yohanan the Immerser on a dish. That's why you never say you can have whatever you ask. It's a stupid thing to ever say, because now you have to hold your word to it. And the sovereign was sad, but because of the oaths and the guests, he commanded it to be given, and sent and beheaded Yohanan in prison. And his head was brought on a dish and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his taught ones came and took away the body and buried it, and went and reported to Yahoshua. And when Yahushua heard it, Yahushua, like I said, and when Yahushua heard it, he withdrew from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. And when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Yahushua came out, he saw a large crowd and was moved with compassion for them and healed their sick. And when evening came, his taught ones came to him, saying, This is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Dismiss the crowd so that they might go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Yahushua said to them, They do not need to go away. Give them to eat yourselves. And they said to him, We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. And commanding the crowds to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to the taught ones. And the taught ones gave to the crowds, and all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up the pieces left over, 12 baskets filled. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So well over 5,000 people. Well over. More like 6 or 7 or 8,000. Because that doesn't include the women and the children. And they probably brought them by the bunches. And immediately Yahushua made his taught ones enter into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And having dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. And when evening had come, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waves, for the wind was against it. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahoshua went to them walking on the sea. And when the taught ones saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a phantom." And from fear they cried. But immediately, Yahushua spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." And Kêpha, K-E with a half a check mark, P-H-A, answered him and said, "Master, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Kêpha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yahoshua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Master, save me." And immediately Yahoshua stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said to him, "O you of little belief, why did you doubt? You were walking on the water. Why would you doubt?" Excuse me. And when they came into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat came and did bow to him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of Elohim." And having passed over, they came to the land of Gennesar, G-E-N-N-E with a half a check mark, S-A-R, S-A-R, G-E-N-N-E with a half a check mark, S-A-R. And when the men of the place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding country. They sent out into all that surrounding country and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him to let them only touch the tzitzit, T-Z-I-T-Z-I-T, of his garment, and as many as touched it were completely healed. There's explanatory notes for tzitzit, which I'm totally butchering. So that was your daily reading. That's my daily reading too. Thank you, Yah, for such beautiful words. And yeah, if you're offended by what I say, then I'm pretty sure I'm doing the right thing, because I am only speaking the word. And if you are offended by the word of Yah, then I am doing my job. If you are not offended by the word of Yah, then I am not directed this at you. Although the word is completely readable and understandable, given you've read it all and you understand that the word does not contradict itself, then it makes a lot more sense. But if you think the word contradicts itself and you can believe whatever you want throughout however you want, then the word is obviously going to contradict itself. But it's not the word contradicting itself, it's you reading it wrong. Like I said, the word does not contradict itself, you are reading it wrong. Well, I feel like the word, like, you know, sometimes in the word where it says it's there it says Bob was great, because it says Bob was great, and I feel like I just said something similar to that. That's okay. I was using Bob is great as obviously just an example. And anyone who reads the word, they know that I don't think there's Bob actually written in the word, which is why I like to use it, because it's a great example. Anyways, not gonna drag this out too long. This has been your daily reading. HalleluYah. Thank you, Yah.